Hey friends, welcome to One Little Coder. Let's talk about OpenAI, shall we? OpenAI is a company that has released a lot of popular solutions these days that are quite popular, at least among the media. The media that covers AI, they mostly cover anything that is released by OpenAI and it keeps on trending. Whether it is the latest Whisper or the DALI before that, DALI 2, GPT-3, GPT-2, and there are a lot of other models that we do not know. But most of the times, anything that OpenAI releases, it's quite popular. It's trending. Everybody loves it. Everybody uses it. But I'm also one of those few people who kept on passing comments saying that the company is open, that they've got the name open in the company's name, but they are not actually very open in what they do. And I've always made these comments, especially since the time they made a decision, conscious decision, not to open source GPT-3. So at that time, I felt that they are not living up to their name. But very recently, I felt that their approach, at least the last release, has completely changed. Then I thought, you know what? Whenever they were not doing good, I was always making comments about them. But every now and then, I would make a joke about them. But then I thought, maybe now they are doing good, so maybe I should make a video saying that they are doing good. So I mean, like, if I have taken an obligation of criticizing somebody, I think I should also praise when they do good. So this video is basically me telling you about little bit of OpenAI, what they are doing, what I did not like about them, and what they're doing now, and what I like about them. In this video, let's get started. OpenAI is a company. It was started somewhere around 2015, and it was started by a lot of rich people. Let's be honest, all these rich people who had a lot of money, they thought, you know what, AI, artificial intelligence, is growing at a very good pace, and few people were scared of AI, or they were always making comments about AGI, artificial general intelligence. If you do not know, the primary difference between AI and AGI, artificial general intelligence, at least in the language that I understand, is whenever you talk about AGI, you talk about something that has human level intelligence, or in a more generalist sense, not a particular task. For example, if you pick a task right now, if you ask me, can I forecast a data that for the next 10 years? No, I cannot, of course, do it. An AI can do it. AI is better at it. If you ask me, can I do the transcription just like how Whisper is doing for multiple languages? No, of course, I cannot do it. AI can do it much, much better at a larger scale than I could do it. But if you ask me holistically, if AI has got an intelligence like human being, I would say no, and everybody would agree with that. I think that is a whole difference between a very domain specific AI and also a generalist AGI, artificial general intelligence. So what this company started was, this company said, okay, you know what, AI is growing. We need like somebody who is not behind money, so non-profit, who is also very open to collaborate with others. So you can bring everybody together, like the community together, and you can propel the research in AI in a very positive direction. That when AGI is a thing, humans are safe. Kind of like that. Especially, you might have seen at the time, Elon Musk made a lot of comments about AI becoming a big threat, and so all these things. So basically, OpenAI was started as a non-profit artificial intelligence research company by a lot of rich people: Elon Musk, Sam Altman, a lot of people. What also, one of the things that they said is, like, if you read this introduction blog post that came in 2015, if you search for free, you would find the word free at two places. One is, since our research is free from financial obligations, we can better focus on positive human impact. So what are they saying? They're saying that they're not behind money. Their research is free from financial obligation, but we can better focus on positive human impact. Whether they lived up to it, that's what we're going to discuss next. The second place where you see free is, we will freely collaborate with others across institutions and expect to work with companies to research and deploy new technologies. So in both the cases, they have used free in such a way that one would be that they are non-profit, they are not behind money. That would let them do things in a manner in which a for-profit cannot do. That's one thing. Second thing is, they also are talking about freely collaborating with the industry institutions, working together, and all those things. Now, this is what OpenAI started with, and there was a lot of press, especially whenever Elon Musk is involved in something. You know that everybody in the press media is quite excited about it. Now, what has happened later on is that I think they released like a good like bunch of models. Like if you see starting from 2015, if you read their blog post, 2015, then OpenAI Gym, which was around reinforcement learning, and you would see a lot of things. But what happened, I think, after around the time of GPT-3 is that they made a conscious decision they're not going to release the model. So then they later on released the model in batches. It became GPT-1, GPT-2, GPT-3, and this was quite criticized at that point. I mean, a company that called itself OpenAI, the company that called itself that they are not behind money, the company that called itself that they're free to collaborate with institutions, they were not living up to their name. Why? When they launched GPT-3, they not just not released the model, they also made some business collaboration with Microsoft, giving exclusive access to Microsoft. They also gave GPT-3 as an API, which is not ideally what a non-profit company would do. Non-profit would not host a model on their space and then ask you to pay for API for every token, like pay as you go. So all these things kind of created that image at that point that OpenAI is definitely not living up to their name. And even in fact, like today, when you go to the company page and then you read about it, what does it say? It says OpenAI is an AI research and deployment company. Our mission is to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all humanity. You wouldn't necessarily see anything about openness. You wouldn't necessarily see anything about the free aspect. Like even in detail, you would see OpenAI's mission is to ensure artificial general intelligence (AGI), by which we mean they want to clarify what do they mean: highly autonomous systems that outperform humans at a most economically valuable work benefits all humanity. Very nice. We will attempt to directly build safe and beneficial AGI, but will consider our mission fulfilled if our work aids others to achieve this outcome. So I don't know if this was changed. I've not gone to the archive page and then saw how their landing page changed. But I see a tonal shift in the language that they used from the introductory blog post where they said we will freely collaborate and work. And now they're saying we will also consider our mission fulfilled if our work aids others. So I'm not a native English speaker, but I find there's a tonal shift in the way first they mentioned how they want to be, now what they have mentioned. I don't know when this landing page copy was created. Now, having said this, OpenAI has not been open with DALI. OpenAI has not been open with DALI 2. OpenAI has not been open with GPT-3. And like I said at the start of the video, I myself have criticized or made comments about OpenAI multiple times saying that they are not OpenAI. They just have openness in their name, but not in the things that they do. But that's not entirely true. That's what I wanted to highlight in this video. So even though when OpenAI did not open source GPT-3, they have actually open sourced GPT-2. So OpenAI GPT-2 GitHub. So you would see GPT-2 available completely on like you can basically install this just like any other model, and then you can also use it from Hugging Face Model Hub. So this is available. So you can see GPT-2 got a staged release, original blog post, 6 months follow, final one. So GPT-2 was open source, but GPT-3 was not. So next, when we talk about DALI, again, like that is another criticism that I have mentioned, that DALI was not open source. But one important thing that they open sourced at the time is called a model called CLIP. GitHub. So if you see CLIP stands for Contrastive Language Image Pre-training. So CLIP is a quite important model, and you would see CLIP being used everywhere. But if you are a fan of Stable Diffusion, if you're a fan of any generative AI that we see these days, CLIP has really made an impact in how those open models have been built. So my point is, even though OpenAI has not necessarily open source DALI, which is a separate discussion altogether, but the fact that they open source CLIP has an impact in everything that we do, everything that has been released today. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that OpenAI, maybe they did not live up to their expectation or the commitments that they said in terms of the large releases, whether it is GPT-3 or DALI 2. But when it comes to the smaller ones, they have made open source contribution. It's not like they have not made any open source contribution. And some of their notable open source contributions in the recent time is GPT-2 and also the CLIP model, which is also was one of the big foundation for stable diffusion and other generative AI models. So now, having said this, where is OpenAI today? And OpenAI very recently released something called Whisper. I think you might have seen a couple of tutorials from me about Whisper. Now, the good thing about Whisper is the Whisper model, unlike all the previous approaches that they have taken, now they have taken a very complete open source approach, which was very surprising, not just for me, a lot of people who came across this announcement. Because until this point, OpenAI was not either releasing the model weights when they were releasing the announcement, and also it used to have very less information, like very vague. It used to almost sound like very marketing material than appealing the tech community. But what I see with Whisper is complete difference, like complete different approach of OpenAI releasing something. Like for example, you see this blog post. When you see this blog post, you would see view code, which was not available for a long time, and they've got a model card as well. I don't know how many of the time before they had a model card in place, but having a model card, having code, like for example, having a code and having a very clear reproducible example, whether it is collab example or whether it is the example that they've given, or whether it is information about the languages that they have used, different sizes of model. I think this almost feels like OpenAI has either realized it, or maybe the community has made them realize it. What community has made them realize it? I think stable diffusion has been quite revolutionary in a way that imagine you are building a company. You are building a company thinking that this product is going to go rule the world. Everybody talks about it, and then you have got a business model based on it. You are thinking about how can I make money out of it? How many tokens I can give for one? Like how many tokens I can give in $1? How many calls I can let them make? I mean, product managers are discussing this. You're betting your future on it, and suddenly there is somebody who's coming offering this entirely for free, and not just free, they're giving it open source, which means people can see the code, people can create new versions of it, and that is completely taking internet by storm. I mean, people are building new solutions based on it, people are building creating art based on it, and that's exactly what happened with DALI and stable diffusion. DALI was like this big dream from OpenAI, and somehow I felt that stable diffusion made them feel that keeping it closed all the time is not going to help, because the community, when it gets together in terms of research, that's a totally different scale. Imagine like somebody from India, somebody from US, somebody from Japan, somebody from Europe, somebody from Africa. Imagine like all these brilliant minds from different parts of the world when combining together, and when they like combine a force together. I think that is quite unbeatable by a big corporation, at least, like and in the software business. In hardware, it could be a totally different business. You need supply chain, you need manufacturers. Like having a community based hardware product would be quite difficult. But when it comes to software, I think it's really really hard for a big corporation to fight against such a large powerful community, powerful people of great minds. I think that I could be completely wrong, this is speculation, but I think that might have made them feel to go back to their roots about what they wanted to do is drive openness or freely collaborate with the community, and also build things without thinking much about money, or so that when you don't think about money, you release it openly. Like for example, when I released my OpenAI Whisper tutorial, I know that that is going to become like a SaaS product. Somebody is going to build a paid product on it. But if I want to build a paid product myself, and if I'm going to wait for another 3 months, I'm not driving that innovation. Like I'm not doing my job as a YouTuber, where I am somebody who is also promoting that culture of driving innovation through my content. I wouldn't have lived up to my expectation or my goal of why I'm making YouTube videos. I think the same way I feel like OpenAI must have realized that maybe this is time again for us to go back. I don't know whether they'll keep on doing this thing, but I think this is really a good example of how you release a model. They had a very good blog post. They had a very good GitHub repository. I mean, like there are certain things like still people complain that you don't have enough information on the data that they trained on. You cannot raise a GitHub issue. I mean, there are things that you can definitely point out. Like I'm not saying that they are perfect, but the fact that they've decided to go back to their roots, go back to choose the open side, open source side, not the dark side. I don't know, I shouldn't say dark side, but not the commercial route, but more on the open source route. I think I'm quite excited, I'm quite happy. and the release itself is like you have a blog post, you have a paper, you have a model card, you have a collab example, or any reproducible example. It comes as a Python library, and it's quite easy, and it's under MIT license, which means you can build commercial applications on top of it. I think all these things made me feel that it's quite important for us to acknowledge as a community, to know that they like, to let them know, and to let the community know, like it's my obligation as well to let the community know that this is quite appreciable. Like they have done a great job in terms of releasing the Whisper model as an open source model, and that's what I wanted to make. How the transition has happened, openness, closeness, openness, now where they are now. I would love to hear your opinion about what you feel about OpenAI. If you want to know more about Whisper, I've got a couple of tutorials. I've got a playlist about the latest ASR, automatic speech recognition advancements. Please check it out. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Leave your comments. Take care. Peace.